My background is I'm an author of over 9 books. I am the co-founder and facilitator of the Juju Mama Love Academy, which is an online school for relationships, personal empowerment. I'm a metaphysician, meaning I use metaphysical principles in order to help empower people in their relationships and creating the life that they desire. I'm married of over 20 years. I have 3 children. Been an entrepreneur pretty much all my life, but a full-time entrepreneur for almost 15 years now. I've coached thousands of people in various areas of astrology, of relationships, of personal empowerment, essentially using metaphysical technology and concepts to help individuals, create the lives they desire. I have a men's group online as well, where we as men, we support each other in life, love, relationships, finances, spirituality, etc., and really try to come together and be there for one another, but also bring in kind of the latest technology and understanding and concepts that we've all found to really bring that to bear and support each other as well. I wrote The Art of Open Relating because I felt there needed to be a book that was comprehensive, number one, but also really kind of laid everything out in terms of what open relating is versus polyamory versus polygyny and monogamy, etc. And so I really wanted to lay that out. My wife and I, we've been in an open relationship for over 10 years. We've coached a number of couples who've wanted to explore open relating, and so I wanted to bring all that information, all that experience, our experience, into a book because I really felt it could help people. I didn't feel there was a lot of comprehensive material out there that spoke on the realities of open relating. A lot of it's kind of cookie cutter. A lot of it is also very limiting. Most of the information out there is on polyamory. Polyamory, even though it's again a lot wider than monogamy, it still has a lot of structures and kind of protocols and rules and things to it. So I wanted to make sure people understood, hey, here's the end game. Here's where we get to complete and total freedom-based relating, and here's what that looks like. And here are some strategies for how you can get there. Here are the various structures of open relationships that you might find yourself in. Here are the profiles of somebody who probably wants to get into an open relationship or who is, open relating, and what that looks like. So I want to lay those things out for people so it's very clear. And this is volume 1 of what's going to be a multi-volume set. So the question is, what is open relating? Open relating is essentially freedom-based relating, which means you can choose to do what you desire to do, to live your life the way you desire to live it. So if you're in a marriage, for example, a person is going to choose to, uphold the responsibilities of being a father, of being a husband, of doing the things that they need to do for their family, but they will also choose to perhaps do other things in their life, like relate to other people, like pursue, certain education or hobbies, etc. So open relating, essentially what that is it's complete and total freedom-based relating. It means I'm going to do what I feel is best for me, and I'm going to handle those things in the way I see fit. Now, some people look at that and say, oh, well, that seems kind of irresponsible. Well, no, I think the fallacy in life and in relationships and marriage is that if you don't have a set of rules telling a man to do this or a woman to do that, they're not going to do it. And open relating rejects that premise. It rejects that a man's not going to be responsible if he's not forced to do it with rules or potential punishments, or a woman's not going to uphold her responsibilities as a wife or a mother if she's not forced to do it, or if there's not a potential punishment for her when she doesn't do it. And open relating says, no, I think adults are going to be adults and they're going to handle their responsibilities, and whether there's rules there or not, adults are still going to choose to do what they're going to do anyway. So let's just focus on being authentic human beings and allowing ourselves to make the choice to show up as the authentic human being that you chose me to be as your husband, or that I chose you to be as my wife, etc. And so that's the central theme of open relating, which is it's a choice based relationship structure. It's a freedom based relationship structure. It's not based on protocols or rules or potential punishments or shaming or blaming and that kind of thing. And it's very different from other forms of relating. In terms of what is the difference between open relating and say polyamory, again, when you look at polyamory tends to have rules and structures. It doesn't always have that, but oftentimes it does. So if I line up 100 polyamorous couples, chances are they all function in polyamory differently. Some polyamorous couples, function based on hierarchy. Some function based on the veto rule, where one partner can veto the other partner's potential love interest. Some polyamorous couples have, you can only see somebody, one night a week or twice a week, or you can only sleep over once a month, or whatever it is. So a lot of polyamory, when you see polyamory today, there's a lot of rules around it. Some polyamorous couples say, I'm the primary and everybody else is the secondary and the tertiary, etc. And so there's nothing wrong with that, with having rules or protocols and that kind of thing. It's great. But it's kind of confusing. So if I'm, somebody who's talking to somebody who's polyamorous, then I don't really know what I'm getting. I don't know what I'm dealing with. I have to kind of, broach that for myself and decode it, through conversations and trial and error, etc. when I'm dealing with that person. In open relating, you know what you're getting. It's really based on who this person is. They're choosing to deal with me based on what they believe, is best for them. It's not based on what their wife or husband is saying. It's not based on some kind of rule or fear of punishment or fear of being shamed or blaming their relationship. It's based on, they want to see me once or twice a week because that's what they have time to do, or that's what they feel is best for them. They want to, only go on trips or whatever once a year because they just feel that's the best thing for them at this time in their life. Maybe that changes for them a year from now, or maybe it doesn't. But again, when I'm dealing with somebody who's in an open relationship, I know I'm dealing with them based on what they feel is best for them. It's purely based on the choices they're making for them. It's not based on pressure from somebody else or another partner or a spouse, etc. And that's probably the main difference between open relating and polyamory. Yeah, a lot of people ask, isn't open relating basically consensual cheating? My answer to that is no. Actually, open relating is the only relationship structure where there can be no cheating, there can be no infidelity. Again, even in polyamory, you tend to have rules and protocols, so you can have cheating in polyamory, you can have infidelity. Open relating says, look, I'm going to be myself, you're going to be who you are, and we're going to accept that about each other. And that might mean that, we have sex or relate with people in a physical or an emotional way that's outside of what we would do ourselves, but that's just all it is. It's something different than what we would do. We're accepting the fact that, you are who you are, you're going to function the way you're going to function, and we're still going to love you, support you, etc., in you being your authentic self. So there's no way you could cheat on me or I could cheat on you because, there are no rules that are being broken. As I said earlier, open relating is the only relationship style that doesn't have any anxiety, stress, or tension around sex itself. All other relationship styles and institutions are, again, built around sexuality and therefore have rules and protocols around sexuality and therefore the possibility of infidelity and cheating. So no, it's open relating, there is no cheating. It's impossible to cheat. Some people call it consensual adultery. But again, those are people who tend to be monogamous, who are trying to apply their, rules, protocols, belief system, etc., to people who are choosing to do a different relationship style, which is open relating. In terms of who's a good candidate for open relating, really the best candidate for someone to enter an open relationship is somebody who basically understands that, you really cannot get all of your needs met by one person, A. B, that it's healthy for you to engage in variety of human connection, love, touch, etc. Like people who actually understand that that's a very important thing. The people who understand that, segregation of people from each other in terms of, touch, in terms of love, in terms of sex is actually unhealthy. And so that those people tend to be the best candidates. In addition to that, if you're kind of past certain things around, believing your self-worth or value is somehow tied up in somebody else or what they do or their acceptance of you or whatever, that also helps. That's a great characteristic to have, to be a great candidate for open relating. And also somebody who just feels a lot of love for themselves. The more love you feel for yourself, the less tension you have around what somebody else does, even if it's your husband, your wife, or a partner, whatever. So those tend to be probably the four biggest characteristics that I see that, if a person is there, they are a great candidate for open relating. I would not participate in open relating if you're doing it because you feel you have no recourse or, somebody is forcing you into it or that kind of thing. Because, it's hard enough to relate to one person when you have all these, kind of hang-ups and uncertainties and jealousies, etc. When you bring multiple people into that mix, you're just kind of multiplying the problem, right? So you really want to bring, the best you to the table. You want to put your best foot forward. And in doing that, you'll have the best experience. So yeah, I think that's the kind of person who would be the best person, is the person who feels great about themselves, who understands the importance of variety in their life and varied connections, and who feels really good and about themselves and loves themselves. Yeah, I mean, people have asked me, isn't monogamy the best structure when it comes to family and raising children and just the general overall good health of society? My answer to that is no. Again, monogamy tends to be a very segregationist style of relating, meaning, it's very nuclear, and so you have people in their family units who have a level of disconnect from other people around them. And so basically these individual family units, which would include like a husband, a wife, and their children, they tend to require a level of self-sufficiency based on the rules of the nuclear family, based on the rules of monogamy. And so that what's built into that is a level of separation, they have from other people. And so you have these multiple pods or units of families. And so what happens is that separation, it creates levels of distrust between people. There's a lack of love that people have for one another outside of these family units. The level of working together is just not there. There's really no need to work together because you focus on doing everything for yourselves within that unit. And so there's a natural level of separation. People don't know how, in many cases, to really relate outside of their family units, their family structures. I mean, the truth is people don't even know how to relate inside of those family structures, because in order to be the best person you can possibly be and relate to your husband or wife or relate to your children, it's really important you actually interact with other people, in a close and very authentic and connected way, because you bring those authentic experiences and connections back into your family unit, and you're able to be more expressive and open and trusting, etc. But no, the nuclear family tends to be very closed, tends to be very restrictive, and people lose the ability to relate in an authentic way with other people, and that's actually a skill that's got to be developed. Relating with other human beings, boys relate with boys, girls relate with girls, men relate with men, women relate with women, and across sexes is a skill. It takes practice, and it takes, going through trials and tribulations and that type of thing. And we lose that with the nuclear structure. Most of our relationships outside of the nuclear family unit tend to be very superficial. They're not necessarily authentic. They don't tend to go really deep where, you're facing problems and challenges together and overcoming those together, that's the formula for actually, growing bonds and relationships is overcoming obstacles together. So the nuclear family structure, no, it's not the best structure. The best structure tends to be more communal, more egalitarian, more of a sharing, cooperative. Let's work together. Let's express our true feelings to each other and express love and true connectedness to each other. And you just don't see that in a nuclear family. What do I say to people who say open relating is all about sex? Well, it largely is about sex. And what I mean by that is that, the tension and the drama that we see in most relationships in monogamy and polygamy and polyamory even, it's all revolves around sex. As a matter of fact, monogamy is defined based on your sexual activity or your lack thereof. So you are officially monogamous if you have sex with only one person and you don't have sex with anybody else. That's what defines you as monogamous. And so sex is the central theme in monogamy. And so when we say open relating is all about sex, what I'm referring to is I'm saying, well, yeah, what we're doing is we're releasing the tension around sex and sexuality, and we're eliminating gray areas in relationships when it comes to sexuality. In other words, there is no tension in open relating when it comes to sex, because sex is not the central theme, meaning it's not a point of contention, it's not a point of anxiety. There are no rules around sexuality. There is no protocol around sexuality which defines you as being open or not being open. You can be celibate your entire life and still be an open relater. You can be sexually exclusive your entire life and still be an open relater, right? Why is that? It's because it's your choice to do that, not because there's a set of rules saying you can't have sex with anybody or you can only have sex with one person. So open relationships and being open as a person means you're relaxing those rules, and essentially you can just be who you want to be. You can function in a way that feels comfortable for you. You can make your own choices, and therefore you're not at any time in violation of anybody outside of yourself, especially yourself.